Hello and welcome to a new episode of Plug In with the Unchargeables. We have not been doing any live broadcast for months now because everybody was busy with end of the year things. There was no energy left, no battery, no spoons, nothing. We were completely depleted. So this is the new year. And we're ready to pick up where we left off last year. So this is our first episode of 2017. It's a new year, obviously, of Plug In with the Unchargeables. The Unchargeables is a community for the chronically ill, for those of you that don't know us. So we are present on our website, theunchargeables.com. We have a Facebook page and we have a close support group. We are on Twitter, we're on Instagram, and we're on Pinterest. So we're kind of like all over the place. We also have a shop with really cool chronic illness gear. That's theunchargeablesshop.com. You can find all of the links below in the description. But today we're going to be talking about our topic for this week. And our topic this week is medication side effects. We all know about it, and all of our panelists this week are going to tell you their story, and they might have some good tips for you that you can use. But first, let's introduce ourselves. My name is Natalie. I'm 34-year-old single mother. I'm living on Lanzarote, that is a island in Europe on the coast of North Africa. And it's winter here, so I'm a little bit cold, but it's the warmest place you can be in Europe right now. Hooray. I am the founder of The Unchargeables, and I'm here with panelists today. So let's start with the introductions. Emma, please introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Emma. I'm Canadian, so I'm enjoying, we've got a reprieve from the winter right now. It's fairly warm out, but enjoying a Canadian winter. I study biomed and psychology, so I'm really into like the scientific side of things. So I'm a chronic illness warrior, spoonie, whatever you want to call it. I have EDS, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome type 3. I'm going to pass it to Kate.
Thank you, Emma. Hey, everyone. It's me, Kate, again. I'm in the United States, Michigan. And like Emma, we're having a bit of a reprieve from the cold winters that we usually have. It's actually about 60 outside today, which is really nice. I've been a spoonie / chargy my whole life. I was born with hydrocephalus, and now I have a myriad of other problems. And I'm going to hand it off to Winslow.
Hi everyone, I'm Winslow Dixon. I'm also one of these awkward spoonies, but that's okay. I have Addison's disease, which is total endocrine failure, and that was caused by another disorder that I was born with called MSK, which is medullary sponge kidney. So that means I have infections and kidney stones just about every day of my life. So it's fun. But that's my story, and I hope that we can share together and hopefully figure out some things that'll help one another.
Thank you, Winslow. Well, like I said before, today's topic is medication side effects. So I will start with the story that I want to share today. I have fibromyalgia, and I also have Hashimoto's disease. That's my own body attacks my thyroid. So it's an autoimmune disease on the thyroid. That results in myself in hypothyroidism. So that means that my thyroid doesn't produce enough thyroid hormones for my body to kind of, work, because the thyroid is like the motor of the body. So everything slows down. I've been given synthetic thyroid hormones for that because that's the regular and normal treatment for thyroid conditions. And I've been taking those for 6 years already. And they kind of worked, but then they didn't. And it was kind of weird. And I was feeling worse and worse, and I didn't know what was wrong with me. And I did more and more tests to figure out maybe I have some sort of other disease. And then through doing my own research, I always tell people to do as much research as they can, because your doctors, first of all, they don't tell you everything. And second of all, they also don't know everything. So through doing my own research, I figured out that there are also natural thyroid hormones, and that like 20% of the people that get the synthetic thyroid hormones don't feel better after taking those. So it may stop my body from going into organ failure because there's enough thyroid hormones in my body, but I just feel as sick as when I don't take it. It's basically only keeping me alive, but it doesn't really give me any quality of life. And it was getting to a point that I was so fatigued and I was so like swollen. My hands were swollen, my eyes were swollen, like my cheeks would swell up. And I didn't really know why or what to do about it. And then another thing was I got trouble walking, actually. So if the surface was flat, like Holland is a flat country, completely flat. So I never had any issues, just walking. I would just walk a little bit slow and be out of breath and catch my breath and then keep walking. But now I've moved to this volcanic island where sometimes it goes like that. And just to walk to my daughter's school, which is a 3-minute walk, literally 3-minute walk, like down a hill, and down goes fine. But then I have to go up. Well, the 3 minutes at some points in time took me 10 to 15 minutes. I had to take a break like every literally 5 steps, because I had this feeling that I could not get one foot in front of the other. If you've never felt like that, you have no clue what it feels like. It's very strange, and I still to this day don't really know how to explain it. It's like your battery is dead, completely empty, and you can just stand or maybe even have to sit. But I couldn't get one foot in front of the other. So this was last summer. And it gotten to the point where people told me, well, maybe it's time for a wheelchair, because if you can't walk for 4 minutes, reserve your energy, right? So go and look at wheelchairs, which I don't know how I'm going to do a wheelchair with a slope like that. But anyway, that's what I was facing. And then it's a Spanish island I'm living in. So in Spain, natural thyroid hormones are not allowed to be prescribed by doctors, and they're not allowed to be handed out by pharmacies. So it's not a forbidden substance if I take it from another country, but the doctors and the pharmacies are not allowed to give it to me. So I've began my search online, and I found one company where I could get natural thyroid hormones without a prescription. So I have a doctor that's in another country that is guiding me in this, because don't ever just take a medicine without a prescription. But I had a doctor, my doctor in America, who did the research for me and told me how much to take and what to supplement with. And she was monitoring me from a distance and through Skype calls. And I made the switch. And I have to say, on Monday, I went out for a hike, and I couldn't get up the hill. It took me half an hour. I had to take breaks. And after half an hour, finally, I was up the hill. And then I could take like a 10-minute hike on a flat surface. Then on Tuesday, I switched my medication, and I felt so much better within 24 hours that on Wednesday, I went back to that hill, and I walked up the hill within 4 minutes. It was ridiculous. All of these symptoms and effects, and that I thought I had to get a wheelchair, only came from the synthetic thyroid hormones. They were all side effects of this one drug that I have been taking every single day for 6 years. So I just want to tell you this story to let you know how big the impact of these drugs can be. Never just change anything without consulting a proper doctor, but do your own research and do look into it. So that's my thing that I wanted to say. And I know Emma also has a story to share.
So my story and my perspective on like medication and side effects in general is kind of the "is it worth it" school of thought. So part of my EDS is that I have really bad gastroparesis. Essentially, my intestines are paralyzed, which means I literally cannot go to the bathroom, which can be really annoying. So I have to do a bowel prep every weekend. If you've ever had a colonoscopy and have done a bowel prep before, imagine doing that every weekend. It's a lot of fun. So one of my doctors had proposed there's a medication you can take that is a stimulant for your intestines. It's called prucalopride. What I was also warned that prucalopride is a newer version of an older medication called cisapride. It's now illegal to prescribe in Canada and the United States because the medication also does strange things to your heart rhythm and actually resulted in the deaths of 3 16-year-old girls, which was fairly significant for me at the time because I was 16 when this happened. So they told me prucalopride was safe, that there wouldn't be any side effects. And, you know, bowel preps on the end are awful. So I thought, okay, it's worth trying something new. And then took 1 dose of prucalopride, woke up in the middle of the night with really bad heart palpitations and tachycardia, went to the doctor's next day and had, after 1 dose, induced long QT syndrome, which stuck around for about 3 months. So I decided not to continue taking that medication to see if it would work because the side effects of, you know, potentially having a heart attack were just completely not worth it. So, I mean, I had to make a decision there. And sometimes, you know, you have to make a decision about things like that. That medication would probably help me. It's one of the only medications that is known to help with like really severe gastroparesis, but it's just not worth living with the side effects and living with the risks of having a heart attack. You know, I couldn't do anything that week when I was on it. I literally lay in bed and watched movies all day. And, you know, I don't want to do that again. So when I do my bowel preps on the weekend now, I go, well, you know, I have to do this. There were other options, but that's not what I wanted to do with, that's not, you know, how I wanted to live. So, I mean, medication is great. It does fantastic things. We have really amazing scientific discoveries and stuff going on these days. And, you know, if you're at a point that you need a medication, like kind of weigh your priorities, you know, like, are the side effects worth it? Does it make a big enough difference in your condition that you can put up with the side effects? And in my case, no, I could not put up with the side effects. And, you know, I accept that decision. My other piece of advice would be to download some sort of like a medical app. You can get things like Medscape, or WebMD has this too, where you have a medication interaction checker. So, I mean, pharmacies do this too, but pharmacies can make mistakes, and I always like to check things myself. But you can run all your medications through this program, and it will flag interactions for you, and then, you know, you can be more aware yourself of like potentially what happens if you take 2 medications together and other like side effects people have noted from different combinations. So I find that really useful too. So that's my story. I'm going to pass it on to Kate. Thanks, everybody.
Emma, that's one heck of a story. Oh, that's just crazy. I didn't go through anything quite like that, or near as. For the hydrocephalus, of course, they shunt me, and that's that. But when I was PCOS, I started seeing an endocrinologist, and he prescribed metformin. And those of you with PCOS or diabetes know all about metformin and what it does to you, or what it does to a lot of people after they take it after their meals, because you're supposed to take it twice a day after a meal. It helps to prevent nausea, blah, blah, blah. It makes you have to go to the bathroom a lot. Like not fun. endocrinologist, and I'm like, okay, well, the medicine makes me feel better. I can't deal with this side effect. It's been 2 weeks. When's it going to stop? So he switched my prescription to extended release metformin, which is a lot better. I mean, I can live with it. I don't have diarrhea anymore, which is great. Also on spironolactone, facial hair and other unwanted hair growth, related to the PCOS and hormone levels and all that fun stuff. And when I was recently diagnosed with IIH, there was a big, we're really worried because the drug they wanted to prescribe for my IIH to help with that, like the spironolactone. So I had doctors checking to make sure that the two meds wouldn't cause any problems or, counteract each other. Words, but yeah, you get the idea. That's my story with the meds. So, I mean, sure, you do your research, you check on your own, and to go natural, I mean, it's medicine. So talk to your doctors, talk to a nutritionist, and see what maybe you can do to alter your diet to help you with some of your symptoms. Winslow, what's your story?
Thank you, Miss Kate. I'm so glad to hear that they got you an extended release that did much better. And I'm going to kind of, I guess, relay on steroids. That is what I have to take. Emma, I'm really glad that you had a choice. I'm sorry that you have to do those bowel things. That just sounds awful, but I'm glad that, you do have another choice there. I know it doesn't sound fun. Unfortunately, with steroids, I don't get a choice. If I don't take my steroid, I don't live. With Addison's disease, I don't have, my body doesn't make cortisol. So I have to take the synthetic hydrocortisone. Before I was diagnosed, I was 87 pounds. I was having allergic reactions. I was unable to eat. My body was so stressed out from the MSK and the kidney stones that it basically shut itself down. So they put me on steroids, and a year later, I have gained 100 pounds from steroids, which was good at first because I was still underweight, but now I'm to the point where I eat gluten and dairy free. I'm in a strict physical therapy exercise program, and I'm still overweight. So I know that a lot of people in the community are on steroids for different things. I know that a lot of people are on prednisone and hydrocortisone and dexamethasone. So I'm just going to touch on what I have learned and what I know about steroids. I'm not a doctor. I'm a licensed medical tech, but I have had quite the experience with the steroids. So let me just first say that some side effects are necessary because they just come with living. And I had rather be overweight and alive than as thin as I was and as sick as I was. So as much as I look in the mirror and I want to just go, oh, I'm a chipmunk now, I try not to because I'm alive. And to me, life should not be about vanity, and it should not be about, oh, I look good in this dress, or I'm a size 8, or something like that. I feel like in our culture, we're so focused on how somebody looks. And I know we talk about, invisible illnesses, and like Natalie said, she had some trouble walking and things like that. With my disease, I have some days where I can't. And I have to, if I go to the grocery store or something, I have to use the little cart and buggy, and people will stare at you and they'll go, what's wrong with you? And things like that. And I think it takes a lot of strength to just look at yourself in the mirror and go, you know what, I didn't choose this. I might have this side effect, I might have this, that, and the other, but I'm alive. I'll show you guys these. These are my scars from the steroids. It thins your skin and it thins your blood. And so I look like I say I have snake skin. I make the joke that I'm one of those X-Men mutants. But those are hard to look at sometimes. I went to physical therapy and this old lady looked over at me and she said, "You're one of those cutters, aren't you? Snarky little grandma look." And I thought, no. But if I was, what a terrible thing to say to somebody. So my whole point here is just, if you have a disease and you have to take medications and it causes some side effects, maybe you gain weight, maybe you've got some scars, maybe you have to go to the bathroom a little more frequently, don't be ashamed, because you're still alive and you're still fighting, and you might not have it exactly the way that it should be, and things aren't fair, and it's so not fair that some people have to take medications. And like the ladies before me, I am so sorry that you guys are sick. I wish I was the only sick person in the world, and it ticks me off that other people are too, but we're alive, and thank God for the medication. So my advice is it worth it? Yeah, to stay alive, and just don't lose heart. The side effects might suck, and you might not look and feel the way that you want to, but you're still here, and we can still make a difference no matter what. So stick with the side effects. I call it taking the fight lying down. Some days you just have to lay there and just get through it. So that's my rant. Back to Miss Natalie.
Thank you, Winslow. Well, those were just some of the stories of medication side effects. If you have any stories to share with us, just put it below in the comments, and we will respond to you. So this was our episode about medication side effects. Thank you so much for joining us this time. Find us in the links in the comments below on Facebook or on Instagram. Check out our website and check out our awesome chronic illness gear shop. And we'll see you in the next YouTube live. Thank you for watching. Bye.